Damn the gods! It is only you. Giving me a fright, waiting in my tent like a spectre. But pleased to see you nonetheless. Just did not expect company at this hour. In fact, it has been a while since you... Well, yes, since you left your quarters. You have not been very active since recovery. I am trying to handle this delicately, my friend. Obviously, it is not something I am well versed in. It has been some time since we last talked. I have been busy with others who are in need. You know better than anyone just how far stretched we are from medics at the moment. I have heard from others that you have not been up for conversations these past few weeks. I only assume you wanted space. From others, perhaps even me. I assumed having me at your bedside at most hours of the day while you were injured was more than enough of me for a good while. I cannot talk in circles around this any longer. This change in behavior. You are here because you got word of our next move. Have you not? I guessed as much. That could be the only thing to steer you from your stupor. Right. With the capture of Legris, we have a fortified position to start pushing forward into Balian land. If we had any final shreds of hope for things being settled some other way, they are now dead with His Majesty. I will not call the runt that takes up his mantle king until he has done something worthy enough for the title. I never quite cared for King Jahan to begin with, but at least he was formidable enough to keep the Empire at bay despite the odds being stacked against us. It is not like he wanted to indulge the whims of a tyrannical warrior king neighbor. But now that task falls to his son, and the fool wants to fuel the war even more, trying to shift from the mouse to the cat, not caring how many die in the process. I call it incompetence. I worry that we bleed ourselves out trying to make a point that does not need to be made. I know little of politics and the elite above my own title, but what I do know is that they are petty and fools, just as the rest of us are. And now, both Orasian and the Empire are being led by young blood, the most idiotic of us all. I will continue acting as a medic, despite my distaste of our coming actions. I will not lie to you, though. I have thought about leaving. Cowardly, I know, but when I first came to this post, it was nothing more than clashes over the ever-changing border. Violent, but far from what it has become now. Every year, things seem to get worse and worse. And well, now, everything is completely fucked. An invasion plan. Against the Empire at that. Not any of our neighboring countries. It had to be the fucking Empire. The one with a long legacy of conquest and grandeur. Maybe I would be more hopeful if it were Drachenfrey, or somewhere of the like. A mighty but smaller country. Only so many soldiers. Not to mention Drachenfrey lost Stelios. Even if that were many years ago, who was to say they would not lose another war? One could argue fighting Drachenfrey would pull other nations into it, but that is a train of thought I dare not go down. But the Empire? They are equal to 3 kingdoms, at least. Fighting them just feels like an impossible task. Even when they are at their weakest. So absolute. Despite all of this, I must stay. My brother will never run. He is far too brave. And I have cared for too many people here to just leave them. They are going to need me the most. Who are they to turn to when they are in pain? A stranger? I think not. It should be me. That is what is right. But enough of these thoughts of mine. They change nothing. Our future is decided, but yours is not. I assume you have come to an answer to the question I left you when I last spoke. Are you staying or returning home? You never make the easier choice, do you? But I suppose I should have guessed you would stay. It is not in your nature to do the smart thing. But now I suppose you can also say the same for me. You know you do not have to be here in order to fulfill some sort of obligation to be of use, right? You have done your duty for the country. Nightmares. Have they been plaguing your mind as of late? After what you have gone through, it is not a surprise the nightmares come and go. Despite being healed physically, it is like I said, it will take far longer to heal mentally. Your body feels wrong, understandably so. But I suppose the best medicine for such a thing is time. It is why I have encouraged you to go home. You have a family that can keep you company, do you not? Why not return to them? It will provide you a calming place to recover. I have said this time and time again. You are not useless now. You simply just have to find other ways to achieve your goals. I will be impossibly blunt. Just this once. So hopefully you will get it through your head. Because clearly you have not responded well to my failed attempts at being soft and compassionate. You have already done the impossible by surviving past amputation. Most who undergo this die. You should be dead. But you are not because you are strong. And maybe you don't think you are now. But you will find that strength again. You are living, breathing in my tent right now because you have something left to do. So you just have to discover what that is for you now. Your body feels strange and foreign to you. It will be that way for quite some time. But every coming day, you will learn and come to be just as capable as you were before. Perhaps even more so. You simply must train yourself to function in this form of yours. But it is more than possible. So stop giving up on yourself before you've even done anything besides sulk in your quarters. Oh, well, of course. Like I said once before, anyone can be taught. They just have to be willing to learn. I do think you could do good as a healer. That is the reason I suggested it to you in the first place. It provides you a way to be productive while also being away from the fight, since you were too stubborn to leave. You were not the only survivor of such harsh wounds. Maybe not harsh to the point of what you have gone through, but still harsh. I can provide the care, but I do not understand every malady they are afflicted with. I am not saying you would know either, but sometimes people just want to talk with someone who understands, can see something through similar eyes. At the end of the day, many of the soldiers still see me as Miss Beaumont and not Justine. There is a difference in such a name, such as both my brother and I have the privilege of a choice. As I have said, I could leave now, if I really wanted to. No trouble would come to me. I could return home to my parents' estate, pretend like my years here never happened, at least until the walls crumbled around the cushy life I would be living out. Until then, I would be relatively comfortable. Worrying about the loveless marriage proposals is likely a small price to pay when paired with the advantages of money, no labor, and safety. I doubt the people I care for have even an ounce of this to fall back upon. Even if they manage to find an excuse to get sent home, what life really waits for them there? They see me as someone other, which is fine. But you are one of them. Perhaps there are things you can do for them that I cannot. You never know. Well, of course I would not mind teaching you. Knowledge is not something to be withheld for a lack of pedigree. Mainly, it would just be you ghosting me around the encampment while I take care of my duties. Usually, a more official teaching method requires structure, more textual knowledge, and application before leaping straight into hands-on work, but when one is in such circumstances as this, then we must adapt. Besides, I do not really take you for the type that wants to spend a majority of your days committing manuscript to memory. Yes, I thought not. Though, I do want to ask if you have thought any longer on the idea of having an arm crafted for you. A replacement? Yes, I know it has been a while since we discussed this, but I did not want to prematurely get your hopes up if my brother could not find someone willing to take on the work. However, Augustine has sent word that a craftsman in Drachenfrey believes that they can accomplish the task. If you are interested, my brother can take the required measurements when we arrive at Le Gris and send it forward. A smile. First one of those I have seen from you in a good while. Suits your face well. Though I do want to warn you that if this is something you want, then at some point you will have to depart and make the trip to Drachenfrey. The craftsman can get a prototype functioning with some basic measurements from Augustine, but in order to make sure the limb fits you comfortably, then you will have to be there for precise adjustments to be made. Worry not of travel issues and accommodations. Trust we can provide arrangements when the time comes. Oh, come now. No talks of cost or payback. We have gone through the length of sourcing a craftsman. Funding travel arrangements is the least costly of the entire affair. I have told you, it is fine. Aside from you being my friend, Augustine is interested in your recovery and the aftermath. If you really want to pay us back, do not do so with money. Just allow him to speak with you. Most who have survived what you have lost a leg rather than an arm. I'm not saying you are the one and only, but there certainly are not a multitude of people like you wandering about ready to speak their piece. My brother likely wants to write about you for academic purposes. Perhaps learn something that can be applied in the future. I know he recorded the procedure that was done on you for posterity's sake. But knowing what we know now, he is likely to inspect his writings for what he did differently in comparison to others who have done the same. See what is the key difference between survival and death. Yes, you truly are that revolutionary. At least a sliver of pride can come from your pain, since the gods have placed this fate upon you. So, this is your decision? Come with us until it is time for you to truly depart? I know. You will return to us once your business is done. You're not truly departing, but, no, never mind. It is not a thought worth entertaining. Okay, you want to keep pressing? What I am thinking of is the perfect text to lend you for some casual reading material. Just because I must teach you in a rather active fashion does not mean I will not give you material to glance over and study. Well, if you know me well enough to know that I am avoiding a discussion, then you should know it is not worth pressing me over it. I just thought for a moment, if you left and when you returned, we were no longer here. I am sure you can surmise why we would not be here anymore. Busy bleeding for Akiyakos' son. I know it is a horrid thought. That is why I tried to avoid it. I didn't mean to worry you. When the time comes, I am sure we will do whatever we can to ensure both victory and survival. And maybe if we are especially lucky, our neighbors will send aid. Maybe. Probably not. I am trying to be optimistic for your sake. It is hard for me. Pessimism is so much easier. You know what we need after talk this heavy? A drink. You want some? I think that is a yes. Let me look in my bag. Pretty sure I have something stowed away in here. Nothing actually good, mind you, but I doubt either of us are really drinking for the taste right this moment. And to avoid any dire topics, I will tell you of this horrendous book I remember reading when I was studying in Kirjaan Matahari. Oh, was that a piece of work? Very funny. No, it was not a medical manuscript. You, of all people, know I read fiction in my pastime. So, the book was originally from the Grand Duchy, but I bought it at the bazaar for something to do since I have always been me and I have always hated people. So, when I was not studying, attending a lecture, or sleeping, I would remain in my quarters and read. The book was a romance of some kind, but so strange. All the characters spoke so wrong. Like they do not know how humans would actually act. Like the author claimed that the main character, woman, whatever, is a warrior and a charmer. But whenever she has a chance to show these traits, she is always so helpless and stupid, honestly. There was a scene in which a man was looking at her, and she was so startled that she backflipped off a balcony into the sea. No, I am not joking. That happened in the book. That is what happened. I am not shortening. Yeah, I do not understand that in the slightest. I understand getting scared, but yeah, at that point I was really questioning what I was reading, but it was also strangely amusing. Instead of doing the rational thing and putting it down, I just kept reading to see how bad it got, and oh, it got